right into it. And this portion of the broadcast, again, part 2 or section 2 of, designing your marketing campaign. These are some suggestions for how you could design an effective marketing campaign. This is not the end all. It just is, it offers some suggestions that we have found in our 10 years of experience to be effective in the industry. Excuse me, allergies. So, okay, part 2 is campaign pre-planning. So how can you pre-plan your campaign, and how can you get to a point to where it makes sense for you and you're able to plan effectively your budgets and resources so that they're doing what you need them to do? Okay, so when you think of pre-planning, think of it as a way to maximize your time and your resources by simply understanding basic principles of what to expect, which I also like to call risk management. When you're thinking of your advertising dollars or your campaign dollars, you want to make every dollar work. You need to know how every dollar is going to impact your campaign and what the return on investment is going to be. Because if you can highlight or pinpoint which parts of your campaign or which campaign channels are the most effective and pour and remove monies or resources from areas that are not effective, then you can optimize on the areas where you're getting the most traffic and building the most relationships with new patrons or new customers, consumers, and existing patrons of your brand. So again, you want to start with a campaign budget. You want to identify how much you're going to be able to spend for your campaign, whatever the campaign may be. And so we'll use the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge as an example. There was a certain amount of dollars spent to get the initial message out there. Once the campaign went viral because people were having fun, it became free. They didn't pay all of the people that did the challenge, which it did not, but that poured buckets of ice over themselves and donated a certain amount of money. Those people weren't paid. Actually, they were paying. They were accepting a challenge, pouring water on themselves, genius campaign, by the way, and donating money. And it raised millions of dollars, and it was on everyone's timeline. I don't know how many people I saw doing it, and celebrities gave it celebrity credibility because they started doing it on stage at concerts, on sets. The Scandal team, gotta say I love Scandal and Kerry Washington, but everybody was doing it. So we want to talk about your spend. How much are you going to spend? Not going to beat it with a dead horse, but you should know how much you're going to invest in your marketing efforts, and then be flexible, which most people lose this portion of it. You have to be flexible to know you can spend a little bit less or a little bit more in certain months. So for example, in January, maybe you spend $300 because your event's coming up in June. But as you get closer to the event, you increase your budget and you increase your spend. So as you get closer to the event, you want to make sure that your commercials are in constant rotation and that you're maximizing on impressions in front of your target consumer. Once you can maximize on your impressions in front of your target consumer, you're then able to convert faster. And so in closer months, you want to focus on who can you get to purchase and how many advanced purchases can you get. We'll use live events for an example, or even let's say an album sales. Recently, I saw an album come out and I really like the artist. So what they were doing was releasing one song off of the album at a time, which is called the slow drip, like a faucet slow dripping. So it's a slow drip part of a campaign. Well, it piqued my interest because I really enjoy her music. So before the album is even released, you can do pre-orders or pre-buy the album. The same thing with iPhones. I'm on a MacBook right now. I love Mac, not gonna deny it. It works for me, but I have friends that were on a waiting list for an iPhone 6 before it even came out, months. And there's other people that wait in line just to get it the day up so they can have that instant gratification. So your budget can add to all those different points, and it could really work in your favor to get numbers and get you some results prior to you even launching an event. The benefit of getting pre-numbers and pre-sales and all that kind of good stuff is that the day of the event, things can be effortless and easy when you're not worrying about trying to sell tickets to just make ends meet. Ends never meet. There's the secret. So you want to focus on ways to make the money before your album release, before your event, before you release your new product or service, so that you already are in the black. You're in a surplus when it comes to your actual event. And your campaign pre-planning program can help you to do that. So you want to also increase and include your objective statement. What is your objective? What do you want from your marketing campaign? Do you want to create awareness? Do you want to increase sales? What is it that you want? When you do just a one-line sentence, it allows you to be clear and direct so that when you're talking to your team about what it is that you need and what you want to happen, it's not a lengthy process. You should be able to say in one sentence, what is it that you want from your marketing campaign? We want to increase advanced ticket sales 50% before the event comes around this year from last year. How can we do that? Well, you can set in place goals and channel goals. So a channel, your marketing channel, it might be Google Hangouts, it might be Facebook or social media, it may be TV or television ads, which are very pricey and not as effective today, or it could be a solid online campaign. What is your channel? Once you decide what channels you want to work with or that you want to be a focus and where you want to invest your money, then you want to look at your key performance indicators. Your key performance indicators can tell you what you want to know in your goals. So the first key performance indicator, for example, could be what's your customer conversions? How many people go to your website and how many people are converting? So if you have an album release that you want to put on your website or you have an event and you're doing pre-ticket sales, how many people are converting by this certain date? So for example, in the first half of your campaign, maybe you say you want to sell at least 300 tickets. Were 300 tickets sold in the first half of your campaign? If 300 tickets were not sold in the first half or quarter of your campaign, then you want to look at the statistics on why weren't they sold and how could they have been sold better. It's really important to focus on key performance indicators because it's going to save you, again, time, money, and resources. Why waste your time and money in marketing channels that are not helping you, that are not going to get you the results that you want and aren't going to make you some more money? Because at the bottom line, we do everything we do to be able to make more money, to do more events and do more awesome things, and to be financially free, separate from having to look for sponsors or investors to do stuff. If we do pre-sales ourselves and we solidify ourselves as the expert in our area or our industry, it becomes very clear and easy for us to look at our channel goals, again, your channels, your key performance indicators, and again, your target goal. So a target goal has to be a SMART goal. You don't want to just tell your team, I want to increase sales for tickets. No, if you're doing an event, you want to go like this. We want to increase sales. Last year, we did 100 pre-sale tickets. We want to increase sales by this much percent so that we could have 300 tickets. We want to pre-sale 300 tickets by this time. So my goal is to increase our concert tickets by January 1st, which would be a 50% increase to 300, 400 tickets, and also to add 1,000 new affiliates or affiliate websites so that those linkings will give us page ranks higher, which increases our search engine optimization. So it sounds complex in that was really detailed, but the more specific you are, the stronger you'll hit those targets. You don't want to use the spray and pray approach when you use your marketing because it's going to waste your money. And you don't want to deal with people that don't really understand what it is that you have to offer in the marketplace, because you'll end up at a place to where nothing makes sense, you've got no return, and you're in the red constantly. The goal for your pre-planning, which is section 2 of your marketing plan, is so that you are in the black before your event happens. And if the plan is executed correctly and it's communicated correctly to your team, then you can go above and beyond results. So I know that's definitely possible for you, and I know you can take it there. But these are just a few key things to help you to get to what it is that you really want. So We talked about key performance indicators. We talked about your channels, you know, and goals for your channels. And then we also talked about the target goal, which is a SMART goal, a specific goal that is measurable and attainable for what it is that you want. And that way you're giving yourself little wins, and you're also able to see where your successes are. You know, events don't fail on the day of the event. Your event or product launch or whatever fails in your pre-planning portion. The day of is your day to just have a surplus of #winning. You know, it's the best way I can put it. You should already be at a point to where you're on easy street. Things just feel good. Everything else, investors, sponsors, and all that kind of stuff is just a bonus to the blessings that have already come from your hard work and from your team's hard work. Not scrambling the day up to try to make nickels and dimes and all that kind of stuff meet, because you're bigger than that. And if you plan appropriately and you create your campaign calendar, which I will put an example of. If you email me, I will send you an example of a campaign calendar, and I'll also send you an example of the template that I'm going to create for anybody that wants to know how to do a digital campaign or do an analysis. If you email me, I will send it to you. That is my word. Like I said, I'm on the road right now, so give me a little bit of time, but I'll make that happen. So the campaign calendar indicates what channels you're doing when. So for example, and I hate that I can't show you this, but again, if you email me, I will send it to you. But if you're saying you're going to do, maybe you want to do a 6-month campaign. So you're going to do January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. Went too fast. January, February, March, April, May, June. Okay, so that's 6 months. So maybe you're doing online advertising, you're doing radio advertising, and you're doing flyers, print advertising. So that's 3. So online, print, and radio. Those are the 3. So maybe in January, month 1, you don't want to do heavy radio saturation for the event because you really want to blast it as you get closer to. However, you do want to make sure that you're doing those pre-sales I talked about. So when you're talking about your pre-sales, so maybe you don't saturate it if your budget is overall $10,000. You just want to use a fraction of it in month 1 because in that first month, it's not close enough to the event. And so people aren't going to really wrap their mind around this is coming up, this is coming up, this is coming up. However, you can create some traction with press releases, which is in your print portion, and say, you know what, the event's coming up and we have an exclusive amount of pre-sale tickets. Adding exclusivity to anything that you do creates a thirst within people to move faster. So think about it. When we think Black Friday just passed, and there were so many people that will scramble for these little deals because people always want a deal. So you want to make your campaign strategy in a way and your content and wording in a way that it creates a thirst for people to buy instantly. So if you do that in month 1, as you get closer to the event, let's say in month 4, you're still pushing pre-sales, but you're saying, you know what, the deadline is coming up, sales are running out, we're not going to have any more pre-sale tickets. The price doubles on this date. So if by April 1st, the price doubles, people are going to move faster to buy those tickets, to buy what it is that you have to offer because everyone wants a deal. You can also incorporate, to just track your goals, you can incorporate promo codes, which people really like to use, and you can tell where your money is making money for you. So if they use a promo code from, you know, a radio station that's specific to that radio station, you can say, this radio station made money. So for example, in Miami, I know there's Power 96 and let's say Hot 105 or 103.5 The Beat, better. 103.5 The Beat, Power 96. If more people are using the promo code from 103.5 The Beat than Power 96, excuse me, that's a clear indicator that 103.5 The Beat is producing better than Power 96. So I would take less money, not saying get rid of Power 96 altogether, but I would take my media buy money and spend a little more on 103.5 The Beat because we're getting a higher return on our money from 103.5 The Beat than from Power 96. And then you would just adjust the calendar as you go and as you start to see results. If you're tracking results and you have your team tracking results via Google Analytics and promo codes and all these other kind of good things or affiliate links, then it'll be able to tell you where to adjust your money, excuse me, and how to place it in your month so that when you get ready for your next annual event, you're so much closer to nailing it from the beginning than having to spend money to figure it out. So your pre-planning is so key, and I'll go over it one more time, a quick recap. The first section, we talked about the situation analysis. In this section, we're talking about campaign pre-planning. And so I'm going to log off and log back on for part 3 here momentarily. And part 3, I'm going to talk about channel selection and what channels are. But really quickly, a quick recap on campaign pre-planning. You want to plan your budget. How much do you want to spend on your marketing campaign? And once you know how much you're going to spend and you know the numbers, here's a quick little tip. You can also look at partnering with sponsors to get them to pay for all of the advertising by aligning yourself with their brand. That's a little quick tip. And so that ends up helping because that reduces your costs, but you're able to connect to the reach. And if you word things properly, and even if you're a small business or you're a minority business, there's a certain level of money that is invested from corporate sponsorships every year specifically for minorities and small businesses. So you can take advantage of that. So when you think in the marketplace, well, I don't have a chance because I don't have multi-million-dollar budgets. You don't have to have a multi-million-dollar budget to have an effective marketing campaign. But if you don't know the numbers and you can't speak educatedly about what it is you're talking about, you know where I'm at today. But if you can't eloquently articulate your thoughts and ideas to potential investors or to sponsors, then how can you get them to give you $100,000 or even $1,000 for your event? So it's very important to know the numbers, have the research, and be able to move forward on what campaign channels you want to use. And so I'll go into the details of campaign channels. We talked about your objective statement in this section, and then we also talked about key performance indicators. And so a key performance indicator, again, is it gives you a strong idea of, is this working for me? Is this worth my money? Is this worth my time? And if it's not, what other channels can I use so that I'm able to get a return on my investment? Because at the end of the day, there's always limited time, money, and resources. So you gotta optimize on every dollar. Every penny spent is important. It is absolutely important. I don't believe in wasting money. And I believe that your dollar, every dollar you spend should come back 10 times over. So if you're investing in a channel that's only giving you maybe a one-time over or it barely breaks even, it's time to eliminate that channel and expose your brand to new channels. And so some quick key performance indicators, just some more ideas for you guys, is your customer turnover rate, your customer retention rate, your customer complaints. These are all indicators that'll help you to be able to determine, okay, what's working and what's not working. Another key performance indicator that might be helpful is your market growth, your social media or social networking footprint, your return on investment, which I'm so big on talking about because I don't like wasting money. Again, as a small business owner myself, time, money, and resources is all that we have, so we have to make it work for us. And then finally, we can use promo codes so that we know who is making money for us. I don't know how many times when I started out in my business that I had invested money in these different channels and resources that told me that they were going to be able to produce this many numbers or this many clicks, and they weren't producing anything. I would have never known if I didn't put together key performance indicators to make my money work for me. They could have continued to, to fluff it up and say, oh, well, it's this time of year, or well, your languaging or your content. They can say anything. So eliminate the middleman, eliminate the guesswork, and you can be able to look at the numbers. The proof is in the pudding. Do the math. Again, do not bring a knife to a gunfight. You have to come out the gate swinging. And I'm always going to use the gun example. I'm sorry for those who aren't big with guns because I'm a former Marine. And I believe in pulling the trigger and going forward and making things happen for me and my business, just like I believe for you and your business. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the next Hangout to go into the third section. You can join me there if you like for channel selection. And we're going to talk about channels and what that means. See you soon.